So these peaches all came off of my one little dwarf peach tree. It's a tiny little thing. There's about 14 and a half pounds here, and we've already taken about 5 or 6 pounds off that we've already eaten, cut up, and they're really, really tasty peaches. So I'm thrilled about that. Probably going to, I don't know, maybe dehydrate some, maybe freeze some. Don't need any canned, I still have some, so they'll probably be frozen or dehydrated. And this is what came out of the garden just today. My green beans are just starting to go nuts, so I'm hoping that maybe by this weekend I'll have enough to do some canning. I'm picking the tomatoes just a little bit underripe because we have another squirrel, and every time I leave anything out there close to ripe, the squirrel gets it. So I'm bringing those in as I find them. But my peppers, my okra, my sugar snap peas, but especially the green beans are just doing amazing. So I'm so excited. This is just beautiful. Hi everyone. For the first time ever, my little peach tree, little dwarf tree that's not much bigger than, well, at least taller than me, gave me a bunch of peaches. Probably we've gotten maybe close to 20 pounds off, but I have about 14 pounds that I need to do something with. So I just yesterday found this recipe from freshpreserving.com. It's a ball recipe, and it's for zesty peach barbecue sauce. But you could also kind of leave it like a salsa, so I'm gonna make this first time because I just happen to have all these peaches. So I'm gonna make this recipe and show you how it goes, and we'll can it up. So I'll show you after I get some of this. Let me show you some of the ingredients first. 3 tablespoons of minced garlic, and you're going to need 6 cups of peaches. It calls for a red bell pepper, but I don't have one. I've got orange. That'll work. And I'm going to use a little bit of jalapeno in it, a large onion, and then some spices. So I'll show you how it goes, and we'll find out together. So I wanted to show y'all, I decided about halfway through that I was going to double this recipe. And I can do that because it's not a jam or a jelly, so I can double it, or I feel comfortable doubling it. It's a water bath recipe, so you have to be very careful about your low acid ingredients. The peaches are acid, so they're fine. So what I've done is a little bit more than doubled the peaches. I'm going to be, probably half a cup low on the peppers, which are low acid, which is good. So the flavor may change slightly, but it's not going to hurt the recipe for the water bath safety. I'm adding a small jalapeno. Actually, no, I'm about half a cup low with that. I'm adding a small jalapeno, which helps a little bit with the pepper, but it's not going to still bring it up to the 2 cups that I would need for a full double. So I'm safe there. I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of garlic, not just the 3 of the single recipe. So that will be straight across. So you can substitute ingredients when you're water bath canning on a safe recipe, but you have to be careful, and you have to keep percentages the same. If you're going to swap out ingredients, just be careful how you do it. In this case, I'm adding a little bit of jalapeno pepper for a little bit of the red or orange pepper, but I'm still under the amount that it calls for. If I went over, it could be a problem. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep everything either equal or lower and keep it safe. And now I've got to chop a whole lot of garlic because I'm choosing to use fresh garlic. So I'm going to do that, and then once that's done, I'm going to chop up the onion, and I'll need about 2 cups of that. So I'm just going to get busy and get all this done, and then I'll bring you back for the next step. All right, we've got everything, I think, together and ready to go. First thing I'm going to do is fill my pot, my hot water bath canner, and I love this thing. I don't use it often, but when I do, I can fill my canner here and slide it across, and I don't have to lift it. And then I get help to empty it, so that's all great. But this is a back saver, and it was kind of a luxury when we built, but so was my range. So I love it. It's not something I use every day, but I love it anyway. So I'm going to get the canner filling with water, and then I've got my jars cleaned, and I'm going to be putting them in there to keep hot while I'm preparing the peaches and everything. So it gets a little bit fuller. And I've got all my other ingredients out here, and I've got, because I'm doubling this, I'm going to have 12 cups of peaches. I've got just under 2 cups of the orange and bell pepper and the jalapeno. I've got 2 cups of finely chopped onion. I've got 6 tablespoons of finely chopped garlic. And I'm going to add 2.5 cups of honey, 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar, and I use Bragg's unfiltered, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and I still can't say that, you all helped me, Worcestershire sauce. I think that's it, but forgive me, that's one I just always have trouble with. I'm going to add 4 teaspoons of hot pepper flakes, 4 teaspoons of dry mustard, and 4 teaspoons of salt. So now I've got this canner filled. I'm going to go ahead and slide it across. Get that heating. And once it gets pretty warm, I'm going to put the jars in and let them get started. All right, so let's start mixing this all up. And I hope you can see, because I don't want to turn the light on. It just seems to create a glare. Yeah, I don't think that helps. Well, maybe that does a little bit. We'll try that. Okay, I've got the peaches, both kinds of peppers, onions, garlic. That's all in here, and I'm going to add, I've got fruit flies because of my kombucha that needs to be bottled today. I'm going to add the 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to add, this is 2 cups of honey, and I'm going to have to get the other half poured out. But I'll go ahead and add this in. Okay, we'll start with that, and then I'll add the other. And then I'm going to add the 4 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. I may go a little bit light on that since I put the jalapenos in there. We'll see. Yeah, maybe just under. Okay, And we're going to add 4 teaspoons of salt.
How's that going?
3, 4. And 4 teaspoons of dry mustard. This thing's really full. A little over 1. Okay. And 2 tablespoons of that hard-word Worcestershire sauce. All right, I've got everything in there except half a cup of honey, and I'm going to add that. So I'm going to put this heat on. And let's see what temperature we want this at. Doesn't say. I'll put it on medium and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to mix this up, and then I will add the extra honey. Oh, this looks pretty. And these peaches are so flavorful. They are just wonderful. So I really hope this comes out well. All right, we're going to get that cooking. I'm going to add in the extra honey, and then I will bring you back when it is to the next point, which I believe is boiling, and turn it down. So we'll be back. All right, so it came up to a boil. I just turned it down. And now I'm going to simmer it. It says until it thickens up like a barbecue sauce. And then it also said you have the option of using a stick blender to kind of make it more of sauce and not so chunky. So I may do some of both. We'll see how it turns out. But for now, it looks and smells beautiful. And I'm very hopeful. And I have water heating for lids. I know you don't have to, but you know what? I still like doing that. And I've got my jars in here staying warm, so they will be ready to go. Because I'm making something hot, I need to put them into hot jars. So we're all set. As soon as this is ready, then we'll start putting it in jars and canning it. All right, I'm back, and this has cooked way down. It's thicker. It's still a little bit runny, but I've decided I'm gonna at least partially puree it, and then we'll see how it is. I may take some out and leave it that way, or I may puree it all the way down. We're gonna find out. So I have my immersion blender here, and yes, this looks like the one that I use for soaping, but it's different. This has a variable dial at the top. I think it's a little longer. Yeah, it feels like it. So this will get noisy, but I'm gonna just start blending this up a little to change the texture. Okay, let's look at this. It's Still a little bit too chunky for me. I'm gonna do a little bit more. But it's better to stop and check it than it is to go too far. Okay, let's check that now. Still a few good sized chunks. I'm gonna get those down and then I think I may stop there. Much nicer. Okay, I'm going to stop and take a taste of this and see if I like this texture. Oh, that's nice. I think I'm good with that. I'm going to let it cook down just a tiny bit thicker. The peaches are so flavorful. And it's got just that kick of heat in it. I think we're going to love this stuff. And I'm thinking that maybe not so much as a barbecue sauce, although we may try that. I'm thinking more, thicken this up a little more and use it as over cream cheese or over brie with crackers. It is that good. You could also use it like a salsa, but I think I'd like to save it for some really special occasions and serve cheese and crackers with this. So I'm going to let it cook down a little more and then I'll bring you back when we put it in the jars. Alright, so here we go. The sauce has thickened up nicely. Just what I want. I've got all my utensils cleaned. I've got my lids, my flats in hot water getting softened. I've got everything clean. My jars are hot and I'm going to start filling them now. These need to be filled. The recipe calls only for half pints, and you want to stick with that because that's what's been tested. And I think this is probably a good amount for just about anything you're going to use it for. So I'm going to fill this to 1/2 inch from the rim. And for those of you new to canning, you can measure it anyway. This tool, debubbler, helps. I've got it right at 1/2 inch. And you always need to debubble. Always, always, always. And then check it again. It's still at 1/2 inch, so we're good. And now I'm going to clean the rim with hot water that has vinegar in it. Even when you're careful, you'll get little bits of food on there, and that could prevent your seal, and that's wasting all that time and money and energy that you put into this. So you always want to clean your rim and put the lid on, the ring, and we're going to do this finger tight, and that goes in the canner. So we'll do one more. about right. Debubble. 1/2 inch. That's good. So we're going to clean the rim. Get a lid. Finger tight, and in the canner. Okay, I'm going to get all of these done, and then I'll bring you back when I start the next part. Well, I've got them all in the jars, and I got 14 half pints out of this. And I'll show you the canner, but this jar is the one that wouldn't fit, so we get to eat this one. And it is just beautiful. I'm sure we're going to enjoy that. And then over here, sorry for making you dizzy, I have the 13 jars in there, and I have about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of water on top of them. And I'm going to let this come to a rolling boil, and my canner actually will tell me when it's safe, but you pretty much know it's when it's boiling well, but not violently. So I'm going to let this heat up, and then I'm going to process it for 25 minutes for my altitude, which is over 5,000 feet. The recipe calls for 15 minutes, but because of my altitude, I add 10 more. So I'm going to let it come up to the boil. I'm going to time it for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it off and take the lid off and let it sit for 5 minutes. And I'll show you when we get there. Alright, here's the 13 jars that I was able to get into the canner, plus the one jar that didn't fit, so we'll be eating that. Ping! So 14 jars total out of a double batch, and this stuff is so tasty. I can't wait to try it. I have a wheel of Brie, and I think maybe we'll have that this week, with some crackers and the Brie and this on top. Oh, it just sounds so good. And I'm not going to pick up a hot jar because they're really hot. But look at how beautiful that is. It is beautiful and it tastes yummy. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm so thankful for all of the blessings and bounty I'm getting out of my garden. And I want to thank you all for sharing this with me. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share it with your friends. Have a wonderful week.